Assalamu alaikum, all my viewers. In our previous video, we have seen about some of the verses from the second chapter of the Holy Book, that is Quran Majid, and we have seen the verse number 46, 47, and 48 from Surah BAQARA, and we have tried to understand the meaning and the message given in those verses. So we have seen there in verse number 47 that the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that remember the favors, remember my favors, Allah says to the children of Israel, that is Yaqub alayhi salam, the favors which I have done unto you, and you fulfill your covenant to me, and I will fulfill my covenant to you, and you fear Allah alone. And then in verse number 48, we have seen that Allah says, fear that day on which no any intercession or the request will be accepted from any soul, and also no any compensation will be taken from any soul, and no one will be helped there. So whatever deeds every soul has done here, good or bad, so according to that he will get the return of that. Now here in verse number 49, 50, 51, we have to see now today, there is a mention of Pharaoh or Pharaoh, who was the king of Egypt, and in his kingdom actually the Jews who were living, they were the slaves of Pharaoh or Pharaoh, and they were living their life under his slavery. So what happened, someone from the kingdom, one person who was a magician, or he claimed to be an astrologer or magician, declared or said to Pharaoh that this year in your kingdom one such male child will be born, or the male baby will be born, who will grow up and who will kill you, means who will kill the Pharaoh or the Pharaoh. After hearing this, immediately the Pharaoh or Pharaoh ordered his soldiers and the army to keep a check in each house, each family, and if any child is going to be born in any house, so if the child born is a female one, or if the baby born is a female one, so leave that baby alive, don't kill that. But he ordered, or he made the announcement in the kingdom, if the baby born is the male one, so kill it, so that no any male will be born to and grow up to kill Pharaoh or Pharaoh. But no one knows Allah's plan, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made one male baby to be born this year, that year only, in his kingdom. And more interestingly, that male baby was adopted by Pharaoh's or Pharaoh's wife as a child, and that child or male baby grew up in Pharaoh's or Pharaoh's house itself, who later on came to be known as Prophet Moses or Musa alayhi salam. And then what happened? Whatever was as predicted, so that male baby only became the reason of Pharaoh's destruction. Pharaoh and Pharaoh's whatever people were there, so their destruction. So that's, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here that when we saved you, remember that when the Pharaoh's people or Pharaoh or his soldiers and army who were afflicting you, with a very horrible torment. Means this is addressed to the believers of Allah and those who were believing in Prophet Moses or considering Musa alayhi salam as their prophet, and those who were believing in Torah. So Allah reminds them about this, that they were killing your sons and sparing your daughters. And it was a really very much hard or very mighty trial for you from your Lord. And then it is explained here how the Pharaoh and his people were destroyed. So when the soldiers of Pharaoh were running after the believers of Prophet Musa, so they ran towards the river Nile, which passes through Egypt. So Allah has separated the sea and made a path through that sea, so that the believers of Musa alayhi salam passed through that safely, and Allah saved them. And when the soldiers of Pharaoh came to near that sea, so Allah closed that path and made it sea again, so that all the people and Pharaoh, they drowned in the water of that sea. And Allah says, when all this happened, you all, means the believers of Musa alayhi salam, were witnessing this thing with their eyes, looking. And after that there is a mention of Prophet Musa or Moses. So Allah has promised Prophet Moses that if you come on the Mount Kohetur, which is one mountain, and perform the itikaf for 14 nights. So Allah promised that Allah will give Moses the book, that is Torah. So Musa alayhi salam went there and he performed the itikaf for 40 nights, and as promised, Allah gave him the holy book, that is Torah. But when Musa alayhi salam was not present in Egypt for 40 days, so the believers of those who were the believers, they thought Moses will not return, and they were misguided by one magician who was called Samri. So that magician Samri, what he has done, he has made one idol of the calf by melting the gold, and he convinced the believers that now you believe this idol of calf as your Lord, and you start worshipping the calf. And people started doing like that. So when Moses got this news, so he was very panic stricken, and he returned and he asked the believers to ask for forgiveness from the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at that time there was one method of asking for forgiveness. Moses said that those people among you who have not worshipped the calf, and those who worshipped Allah alone, so now those people will kill the other people, majority of the people who started worshipping the calf and believing the calf as their God. And in this way, majority of the people were killed, and their forgiveness were accepted by Allah. And by doing this deed, whatever we can say shirk they have done, or they have set the partners with Allah, and this is such sin which Allah never forgives. So Allah says, by setting a partner with him, those people have become among the polytheists or the wrongdoers or zalimin. So this is the message given in these verses. Now the next verses we will see in the next video. Today we will stop here. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.